Welcome back to the YouTube channel of me, Ken Scott, author, ghostwriter and writing coach. You can catch up with me on Facebook or indeed Twitter. I'd be delighted to catch up with you on any of those social media platforms. This video is Key Stages 3. For those of you who've watched the other Key Stages 1 and 2, you'll be familiar with the concept. And that is, I believe there's 8 key stages in writing a book: starting the book, continuing with the book, and of course finishing with the book. I've written 23 books now, in one shape or another, collaborated or ghostwritten 16. I like to think I've perfected a technique that takes you from start to finish and motivates you along the way. One student I'm working with calls my 8 stages, my 8 key stages, her pearls of wisdom. That is, things that she adopts, she takes on board, she follows them religiously, and at the end of the day she knows, and I know, that within a month or two now she will be sitting on her first completed book. So in key modules 1 and 2, key stages 1 and 2, we've covered the fact that you need a good story. We've touched on deadlines and targets and the fact that you need to be looking at writing at least 1 chapter a week. We've looked at the discipline element of it as well, and we've stopped watching television, something which you're not going to be able to do and seriously write a book at the same time. It was Groucho Marx who quoted, "I find television very educational. Every time someone turns it on, I go into another room and read a book." That about sums television up for me. Far more useful things to do. Which brings me on very nicely to my next pearl of wisdom, if you like, and that is that you do need to read a very, very good book, a decent book, when you're attempting to write one yourself. Try and read a book rather in a similar genre to the one you're attempting to write. I'm writing a book at the present time for a girl in the UK who went through a rather painful divorce, a rather dramatic divorce, and a lot of the action takes place in the courtroom. The sort of writing that I really do enjoy, really do like to do. It's no accident that I've got a couple of John Grisham books by my bedside cabinet, trying to emulate the master of the courtroom drama. Your book needs to be no different. If you're like writing a good thriller, then try and read a good thriller. If you're writing a good autobiography about a particular subject, then try and read a good autobiography on the same subject. Believe me, that will help you enormously. So the secret when you're writing is to read. As crazy as that sounds, believe me, it's also logical. Give it a go. Get a book on your bedside cabinet, go to bed, read 2 or 3 chapters of a decent author, and just see how easier it is to write the following day. Don't take my word for it, just give it a try. Another pearl of wisdom, and indeed something else that I take to bed with me, is the humble notebook. I use a notebook and a pencil because the times that I've lay awake in bed, or I've been woken with a start at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning with a brilliant idea for the novel or a brilliant idea for the book that I'm writing for somebody else on the other side of the world, is quite extraordinary. If you haven't got the notebook, if you haven't got the mobile phone where you can take notes on the mobile phone by your bedside cabinet, the chances are you'll fall asleep and that idea will be lost. And that notebook must be small enough to take with you 24 hours a day. Wherever you go, take that notebook with you. As I say, most of the writers these days are using the mobile phones, and that's okay. There's some great apps that you can get. I've got one on my phone called Coloured Notepad, and you can reference things very, very easily. A writer needs to take notes. A writer needs to have something that he can take with him or her at all hours of the day, wherever they are, whether in a cafe, whether in a bar, whether at work or whatever. Doing the housework, put your phone in your back pocket or whatever, but just make sure you always have some method, some medium of jotting down some sort of note or an idea that comes to you, because if it comes to you and you haven't got that with you, then it could technically be lost forever. So we're nearly there. Before we move on to the pearls of wisdom, if you like, the key stage number 8, I just want to go over the first 7 key stages that we've covered in these 3 modules. I've told you that we need a good story, we need a great story, whether it be fiction or factual and autobiography, it really doesn't matter. Key stage number 1 was the story. We need a story. Number 2 was that you need to write when you feel like writing. You may remember we covered that in module 1. If you've had a big fight with the wife or your football team's been beaten at the weekend, don't wake up on a Monday morning and try and write. It won't work. Number 3, impose a deadline. Pick your own deadline. Whether it's 6 months or 12 months, it doesn't matter. It really depends on the pace that you want to go. Deadlines are very, very important. They have to be imposed. Set yourself a target date. Most, indeed all of my writers do exactly that. Number 4, discipline. You have 7 days a week to work on your book. I'm only asking for 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 afternoons, 2 or 3 mornings, it doesn't matter. If you enroll in one of my courses, my one-to-one courses, believe you me, I will make sure that you are disciplined. It's something you have to have when writing a book. Number 5 is the zone, the writing zone, the area that you can go to where you love going into, you love walking through that door. The television set needs to be in another room, or better still, you need to sling it out of the window. It's very, very important. You've got all the tools of the trade these days in order to write a book, with the computers, the spell checks, the grammar checks. You have no excuses. All you need to do, number 5, you need to find that writing zone, and that writing zone has to be without the television. And so now to number 8, and possibly the most important of all. This may shock you, but number 8 is you need to start. Because if you don't start, you'll not know whether there's a book in you. You'll not know whether there's an author deep inside you waiting to come out. But you have to start. It's incredible how many presentations, how many groups I go to, and I ask around the table at the end of the presentation, how many people have written a book? And the blank looks on their faces. How many people have tried to write the book? Blank faces. How many people have actually started on chapter 1? Blank faces. It is incredible. Just start. Please start. Give it a go. You have your story. You're going to write when you feel like writing. You've got your deadline. You've got your discipline. You've got your zone where you're going to be wanting to go into. You're going to throw the television out the window. You've got your 2 books. You've got your reading book, your notebook. 24 hours a day, that notebook's with you. You now need to start. Please, 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 would-be authors, ladies and gentlemen, just try it. You might be amazed. And of course, if you need any help, you know where I am.